This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
You're in a good place now. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life, the Celebrity Perspective, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. You know, tonight we have a really amazing person that's come on to the Celebrity Perspective, somebody that I consider... you think about those people that are not only like the bedrock of what we feel is Hollywood, but not only that, is somebody that really has stayed true to themselves, has equipped themselves with some amazing awards and amazing things that they've done throughout their entire life. Ed Asner joins the Celebrity Perspective. He was the previous president of SAG, best known recently as the voice of Carl Fredricksen in the Pixar Up movie, winner of 7 Primetime Emmy Awards. And Ed continues to do this one-man show, A Man and His Prostate, which I want to hear more about here, written by Ed Weinsberger, and shooting a documentary, Titanic, amongst other amazing projects. Mr. Asner, Ed, thank you so much for joining the Celebrity Perspective. How are you doing this evening?
Presto, whammo. I'm doing all right, honey. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. It's wonderful to have you on.
Well, it's good to be on. I love myself. Most of the time I do anyway. I think I love myself. And getting to talk to wonderful interviewers like you, I get to fall in love with myself all over again.
And that's what it's all about. I love that. So, Ed, tell us, what are you working on lately?
Go on, keep talking and keep making me fall in love.
What do you got going on lately? Because I'm just mesmerized by your career. I mean, it's nonstop. If you go to IMDb, it is nonstop. Tell me what you got going on in your life right now.
Well, let's see. I leave on the 17th to go to Columbia, Maryland, do a pilot for a half-hour TV show. It's called Benny's Gym. Then from there I go to Toronto and Ottawa to participate in a Canadian series that I'm recurring on, where I play the psychiatrist to the psychiatrist. And I'll be up there until June 6th. And I return here to celebrate D-Day. And the field's kind of open then until the fall. Oh, I'm supposed to do a movie in Italy, but I don't know when it's going to take place. I'm also supposed to do another version of Santa Claus for a friend who's making a movie called Doggone. So let's see. Then come the fall, we'll be doing about a week of Man and His Prostate in Chicago, and then I'll be waiting for the other offers to come in.
So tell me more, Ed, about Man and His Prostate. Tell me more about this one-man show.
Well, it's written by Ed Weinberger, who was a writer-producer on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And it's from his own personal experiences of succumbing to prostate trouble on a cruise ship with his wife to Italy. And it's not only quite funny, Ed's a wonderful writer, quite funny, but it's very informative at the same time. So you're laughing and shuddering while you're laughing. One man dies every 16 minutes from prostate cancer, so it's worthwhile checking out the show just to get the information.
Well, that's interesting. So it's kind of like it's kind of like helping people understand and laughing at the same time. And I realize that laughter is the best medicine, right?
That's right.
That's neat. That's neat. So let me ask you. I know that throughout your career, wow. I mean, you are prolific, and you just don't stop. And I think that with folks like you that are really just driven. How have you juggled throughout your whole career, and staying grounded, honestly?
Grounded? I don't know if I've ever been grounded. Anytime I've been grounded, I look around me and say, where am I? Who am I? How the hell do I get out of here? Grounded to me sounds like sanity, and of course, I'm totally bonkers. I can't say I'm grounded. I'm a liberty gibbet in a lot of respects, and the older I get, the more ungrounded I become. So I'll have to rely on shrinks like you to keep me plastered to the ground.
I don't want to plaster you to the ground, though. I know what you mean. That word "grounded" is an interesting word because, I remember when I was younger, my parents would ask me if I was grounded. I was like, I don't want to be grounded. I always thought about a plane getting grounded, on the runway.
Yeah,
and you can't leave.
Inclement weather.
Yeah, and you're stuck there with screaming babies and somebody that's using the vomit bag, and you can't get a drink to save your life. You're like, oh my God, here I am, grounded.
Yeah.
I like the way you think. I mean, you're a passionate person. I mean, what are some of your favorite roles that you played throughout these years?
Well, after 12 years of playing Lou Grant on one version or another, I can't deny the beauty and the efficacy and the good fortune I had to be chosen for that. After that, there's Rich Man, Poor Man. I'm very proud of. A movie I made in Canada with the late Ann Jackson and Meredith Baxter called Family Man, which is kind of autobiographical. And then I did it, and it seems like the ones that stick out for me are the ones that I made in Canada all too often. Made another cute picture up there called Heads, and I play a new small town.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. When you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself, talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
With the Redfin app, you'll know the moment your next place hits the market, whether you're looking to buy your dream home or rent a sweet apartment. Give Redfin your gotta-have-it wish list of property features, and you'll receive real-time notifications tailored just for you. Ready to see it up close and personal? Scheduling a tour is just a tap away. Don't wait to find your perfect match. Download the Redfin app and start searching today.
Newspaper editor who was a serial killer. And it had John Cryer and Jennifer Tilly in it. And that was a fun project. I loved doing Elf with Jon Favreau. That's one of my favorite pieces of film. And naturally, Up meant a lot to me. I can go on and on and on, you know.
You're allowed to. This is a show about you. I mean, that's the key, because everybody wants.
No, but we got to stay grounded.
I am going to hand out some peanuts and pretzels if you're allergic to peanuts here as I walk around the cabin if we're grounded.
I got a boarding house reach, but it ain't that long. You'll have to airmail them.
Exactly. I'll send them overnight. I'll overnight and FedEx them to you.
All right.
Yeah, Dallas is a little far from where you are. It's interesting. You know, it's like you think about life, and it's like a lot of shows and movies that, you know, I've seen you in or heard your voice, and yeah, definitely Elf for sure. I mean, you know, it really is quintessential, and that's one thing, is that your voice. It's funny because I have a dog named Buddy, a miniature bull terrier, and we were talking about this earlier. And, you know, we named him Buddy after Buddy the Elf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from the movie.
Oh, for God's sake. What good fortune that is.
We love Buddy.
May you have as much joy from your puppy, I guess you do since he's over 4 years old, as I got from working with Will Ferrell on that movie. He was priceless. He was just priceless.
That's cool.
And inspiring.
Yeah, y'all were amazing in that film, and it's one of those films that you watch. You know, I watch it not only during Christmas, I watch it, you know, throughout the year, but it is just, it really is the quintessential, you know, Christmas film now. And I think everybody really, because it's so good for any age, and it really does still grab your heartstrings, and, you know, it gives a tear. I mean, I cry at it every single time I watch it.
It unifies us. That's the wonderful thing about it. It unifies us, and it gets us away from that treacly Edmund Gwenn Miracle on 34th Street. I found too treacly.
Yeah, what was up with all that? I mean, it was okay at the time, I guess, but you're right. It wasn't a very unifying film. This film does unify. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't like the film.
Yeah. It's a good way to meet Santa. And Buddy the Elf, of course, will warm our hearts forever. He's a fantastic performer.
I haven't met him, but I look forward to interviewing him as well. But it's always interesting, you know, the people that have that dedication. And one of the things that I know my listeners do want to know is what keeps you motivated day to day?
Sex.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I keep saying to myself, this may be the day. This might be the one. It's a great lodestar, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It magnetizes, and I'm drawn to it constantly. And it's like, what are the other things in fable or whatever that you strive to reach and never attain your goal? What comes to mind?
When you strive to achieve and never reach?
Yeah.
The things that are right out of reach, you mean, or?
Yeah, the temptation is always just out of reach, almost to grab onto. Well, that's the way sex is for me right now. Yes. Come on.
It's right out of reach.
solve my quest.
I will help you. I will help
Put
you.
that in
Mr.
the
Asner.
Federal Express with the cookies.
The cookies, the pretzels, and the sex. Well,
Yeah.
I might need a bigger envelope, though.
No. I've got Donald Trump hands.
That's awesome. I love that. You know, it's true though. Something has to motivate all of us. I was doing a motivational video the other day for some folks, and I said honestly, one of the things that motivates me is the thought of donuts in the morning.
Donuts in the morning? I'm not a cop.
I'm not either. But
No,
there's something
because
about
I'm
it.
a fat boy. Since I'm a fat boy, I say, oh, no. Donuts shall never pass my lips. No. No. Something healthy like a waffle or pancakes. Now you're talking.
Pancakes are good. I like pancakes.
Something legitimate. A legitimate breakfast.
So we'll consider pancakes are on the legitimate side. Non-legitimate is on the donut side. So that's not applicable.
Yeah. And let's see. Well, I finished my cereal now, so I'm sated. I'm sated.
What did you eat this morning?
Not sated, but sated.
What did you end up eating this morning? What was justified?
What was justified?
To eat today, yeah. Was it pancakes?
My usual cereal and almond milk.
Okay. Pretty healthy. Almond milk's pretty good for you.
Yeah, it sure is. It's better than milk. I'm delighted to have lived long enough to have entered the halls of almond milk.
I like almond milk too. Now, I don't like almond milk though in any sort of coffee a lot of times because it really kind of separates. But
it does?
Yeah, it separates.
Well, I drink my coffee black, so I wouldn't know.
Oh wow, you're hardcore.
Yeah, you knew that.
I knew that already. I mean,
when you called,
I know. I was like, hey, I'm calling a badass right now, and we're going to talk about this. So tell me, Ed, honestly, what inspired you as a kid? I mean, like, what inspired you?
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
To follow this career path or to go this direction?
Sex.
So it all comes back to sex.
Mm-hmm. And I say that only because you're a shrink, and I'm sure it's what you want to hear.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. What inspired me? Well, getting a Daisy BB gun when I was old enough. A BB gun, roller skates that I never became very proficient at, ice skates that helped me skate on my ankles. Books, I always loved books. I treasure books. I still do. And may we never get away from them.
I agree about reading. I'm a big reader. I've written 3 books of my own, and it's interesting.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Have they got pictures?
One has pictures.
Okay.
But the others don't.
Then that's the one I'll read.
I'll send that to you if you want to read it. One does have pictures and the others don't. But, yeah, I love pictures. But I do feel like folks are kind of getting away from reading. Oftentimes, I was reading a book on the flight a couple of days ago, and I looked around, and the only thing that I saw people reading as far as reading material was, like, Us Weekly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, God. You know, it is what it is, but, you know, I mean, it's not a lot of reading material. And I've always wanted to learn. I always had that desire to learn more, to, you know, get more knowledge, to, I don't know.
Well, and the communication systems used with electronics nowadays, the short-term abbreviated type of discussions that people are having, I'm sure that the language has been set back hundreds of years.
It has, and it's interesting too. It's interesting, you know, the thought process, and everything kind of comes in these small sound bites now. And I always think that's interesting too. And you have people that are thinking that way, and it's like, let's go through the process. Let's think this through.
Well, I mean, I was raised in Kansas City to be exact, and I went to the University of Chicago. And during the first year, in Humanities 2, one of our assignments was to read the Brothers Karamazov. I had never read Dostoevsky. So I read this 1,000-page novel, and I thrilled as I read it. It was so rich and wonderful, and the characters were rich and wonderful. I mean, my God, I was a pig in heaven. I loved it, and I loved reading before, and that certainly didn't kill my joy of reading.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that one of your favorite novels of all times, or is there others?
Yeah, it is. We recently lost a pretty good novelist. What the hell was his name? Jim. Oh, damn it. He wrote what was it? The main movie out of The River Runs Through It.
Oh, A River Runs Through It?
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
Was it, Legends of the Fall? Was it Jim Harrison?
That's it. He's a beautiful writer.
Oh, yeah, he died on set. Yeah, he died a few days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pity.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah. I read a few women writers when I was in college. Emma, Jane Austen, and they, of course, are wonderful writers. I can't tell the difference, but I don't find many women falling across my path in terms of literature.
That's interesting. You know, it's interesting to find it too, what you love to read, and you know, I love reading about, you know, I'm a historian. I love to read about history, different civilizations.
That's my love of history. I think is responsible for my finally becoming an actor.
Really,
I think they blend and match and feed each other.
I think
history is drama.
Yeah.
Much more than math.
History is drama.
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved to learn about different cultures and history, and you know, just all kinds of interesting stuff. The reason why things were built and civilizations, and it's always eye opening.
We're still actually nothing but slightly cleaned up cavemen. You're not a caveman, of course. You're a cavewoman.
Exactly.
But we're hardly out of the cave. And some of the behavior going on in the world now, it's like we lost the rules and regulations of the cave.
I agree. I hope that we look back at some of these times, especially some things that are happening right now. And I hope, because I believe in the process, and I believe that, you have to go through series of dark before you maybe see series of light. And I think that eventually we'll look back at some of the craziest times of our culture happening right now. And maybe we can look back at it and kind of laugh eventually. But I do agree with you. It's kind of like the allegory of the cave. We are kind of still there to some degree.
Yeah. I would say that all too many people, I repeat, have forgotten the rules and regs of the cave, because I'm sure they existed, and I'm sure people abided by them and respected them. And nowadays, people pick and choose what they want to follow, what they want to believe in. I think the plight of man is not pleasant, and the proliferation of our population does not make the problems any less severe. We're overpopulated. We're killing surrounding life on the planet right and left. And I long for a purity by mankind that I don't think exists.
It's interesting you said that, because I feel that way. It's, honestly, for a while I got rid of TV, and not that I don't, watch movies and have Apple TV and that kind of sort of thing. I'm not completely, in a box. However, one of the reasons I just got so tired of it is that, it just seems like the news is just, predicating stuff that it's not that important. I mean, the idea of having clean water and the concept of the Earth's status and what we're doing to Mother Earth is just like, they don't even talk about that stuff. That's the stuff that matters, and I don't know. I get to that point where I do agree that there's a purity of the human condition, but, I feel like a lot of stuff gets lost in the shuffle, and it's hard to get through a noisy culture.
Yeah. Well, we're going to reach a point where we're going to be standing as if it were a bombed-out city. We're going to look around at the wreckage of Mother Earth and its inhabitants and say, my God. And we'll probably still be asking what's going to happen to us, when the question should be, what did we do to them?
So let me ask you a question, because this is something that I deal with on a daily basis, Ed. I get up in the morning, people get all, they get all concerted in the centering of self. And I wake up in the morning and I feel, and I believe in the goodness of people. And I believe, I respect Mother Earth, and I believe in the things that a lot of people can't see. But it's like, how do you motivate yourself knowing that things are kind of chaotic? How do you motivate yourself on a daily basis to kind of deal with that?
Well, I guess the first principle or the first step is do no harm. If we can guide and conduct ourselves in such a way, maybe we'll be freer to blow the whistle on somebody else who is doing harm. And we should blow the whistle more often than we do. We should nail the spoliators while they're in the act. And maybe we'd be cleaning up the earth while we're doing that. Could you hold the noise down, please? That's right.
I agree with you, and I think that oftentimes we don't do it. And I think, like, you're right. What you're saying is that if you do no harm and you're doing the right thing by others, when you do see someone that's doing the wrong thing, you can step up to the plate and say, "Hey, man, that's not cool." You know, there's gonna be some sort of repercussions for this. And oftentimes, like you said, I think that people are scared because either they're not completely innocent, or they don't know what to do, or they turn a blind eye, and they would rather just kind of overlook it. And a good example, I was out at the beach a few days ago, and a puffer fish, actually just kind of came out of the water and was rolling up the sand and was going back down with the tide, and it couldn't get back in the water, and it was alive and it was gasping for air. And I turned around and I see this fisherman just standing there. And he kind of looked at me and he's like, yeah. And I was like, I got to get this fish back in the water. And it was interesting to see all the people that were around that didn't care. And so by the time, we finally got the fish, we threw the fish past enough tide that it was able to get back into the water and swim. And it's like, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to that. Yeah, it might be one fish. But to me, that was a big deal. I mean, I saved a life that morning. And I know for some people, they don't care. But for some people... Well,
I take my sombrero off to you, lady.
Gracias, senor.
De nada, senor.
See, that's the thing. It's like, and I think if everybody did those acts, no matter how small or how big, on a daily basis... I mean, I clean up the trash around my office building, and it's not like I'm asking for a Medal of Honor or anything. I'm not asking for a Medal of Honor. I'm not a martyr. But I'm saying if everybody took consistency and thought about these things and recycled and did that kind of... I mean, there's no telling what could happen. And I'm wondering if we could just get the word out there. And I think there's a lot of people out there with grassroots efforts, but... I feel like a lot of people get scared or get stressed out because they feel like they're small and their actions aren't that big,
Well, if you saw, the filthy streets that we have in L.A., and you thought about all of our overcrowded prisons and jails and cells, and you said, how much better society would be served if they marched all those guys out of the cells and the prisons and stuff, under guard, of course, and then set them to do what we occasionally do with people on community service. Pick up all the crap that's on the ground, put it in the bags, load the trucks, get it out of here, take it to the incinerator, bury it, but clean up the streets, clean up the freeways, the highways, and just make it like a task force, combing the ground and making it look decent for a change. How nice.
I love that idea.
Well, that choice bunch of help is waiting behind those bars.
And that's another thing, the whole prison reform thing. I mean, I remember back in...
It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. We are the most prisoned population in the world, certainly per capita.
Holy crap.
We're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, I think, when I realize that you employ this stupid third strike and you're out bullshit. And you start to realize that the third strike being some kid or some young adult buying marijuana at that time, anyway, and getting his third strike and theoretically serving life in prison. How stupid can it get?
I agree with you. I mean, I think it's amazing. Awful in an awful way. The sorts and the population that we have in prison for something as small as buying marijuana.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's really, and you're right. And I don't think they realize. I mean, they don't do a lot of work to, not only rehabilitate, but I feel like a lot of it is just like to begin to educate. I think that oftentimes, they're seen as criminals, but it's like, oftentimes a lot of these people were never raised with a family that was there. They don't know any different. I mean, it's one thing, like we've been kind of talking about a little earlier, it's one thing to know, like the rules of the cave. It's one thing to understand that kind of stuff. It's another thing to know it and to go against it and to do the opposite. It's one thing, though, to not know it and to never been taught it and nobody there to help you, and you go to prison for something that's just absurd.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
I don't know how to change it, though. I remember back in high school. I remember back in my freshman year of high school when my first debate. I was national debate person in Lincoln Douglas debate, and we had a debate on prison reform and how to do that. And the same things have been going on since I was a freshman in high school. I mean, nothing's changed. And you sit there nowadays, there's the legalization of marijuana and maybe the change on some of these rules and laws, but other than that, it's still kind of this giant that I don't know what to do with.
I don't know. Right now, it seems like our world more and more is coming to be the 1% and the 99%, and how to overcome that overlordship,
right?
That the 1% exert on us poor peasants in the 99%.
You wish that somehow or not some people would actually just wake up and realize, the concept of gratitude and what's really here. And that's something that I've realized in the last few years is that, it was about 5 or 6 years ago when I could really honestly, love myself and, love myself on every single level, no matter the flaws, accept my flaws, not even see them as flaws anymore, but love that, and then unconditionally love myself, and then able to unconditionally love other people, and then finally gravitate to that next frequency and the next frequency and the next frequency, which would be gratitude, and to be grateful, for the things that, not just the things you have, but just for everything. Mm-hmm. And it would be awesome if we had some of these leaders, in quotes and quote unquote leaders, be able to see what's around them on a level that for some people they feel is godly, but it would be nice.
Well, for instance, I tend to think that Hillary will probably end up winning. And at the same time, my stomach is revulsed when I read how well she did with her speaking engagements with Goldman Sachs, mm-hmm. and how those kind of figures go down with the rest of my 99% crowd, and what they think about it, and how they hunger for some such luck. I'm sure they'd have even more interesting stories to tell than Hillary Clinton. But they get the big bucks? No. Do you? No. Mm-mm. Do I? No. So it's not a great way to win votes, I don't think.
I think that there's going to come a time, and I've been voicing my opinion for a long time on this for like the last couple of years, and I do believe that there's going to be a time when people will run for president that are not connected to all this. It would be nice to be able to have a real person, that really, really cared a whole hell of a lot, about the environment.
Well, that's what a leader's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Well, we're not going to have decent elections in this country until the people wake up. And I don't know how the hell to do it, but The people have to wake up and finally realize that the only way they can get decent government is to have publicly financed elections. That way you'll have candidates that can't be corrupted by overpaying by the lended money interests. Having that responsibility of running on what the people allow you to run on, the money, and that's it. And it would clean up so many campaigns. God, it's as plain as the water on my nose.
I totally agree with you. I mean, because if we could actually, all these super PACs and all this stuff that's going on right now, it not only dilutes what's happening, but it's just all about the money. It's not about the message. It's not about what matters. And I think that, we've seen a few people that have dropped out of the race that, do have some sort of thought process here one way or another. But at the same point, it would just be really nice to have people that, and I think, honestly, as far as Congress is concerned and everything else, I mean, I think that people should have term limits, and I think that people need to get something done. And I feel like, it's turned into this. I think the forefathers and the concept of the Constitution, and when they wrote all this stuff, they did it because, they believed in the human condition, but they also wanted to regulate the power that was given as well. But I feel like we've kind of gone away from that in a sense where people have made this a lifetime choice.
Well, we have a wonderful case in point right now. We're North Carolina, a generally progressive southern state, is being a pain in the ass by suing to ignore rules on bathroom use by transgenders. They're wasting their money, they're wasting our money and our time, because if there's any justice, they will be found breaching the Civil Rights Act. And they will have to eat crow. But we're going to be pursuing this now through the election and perhaps afterwards. And it's stupid.
Well, I agree with you. I mean,
it's the law.
To me, it's crazy, too. I mean, I know that you're at the same level. You think the same way I do, in a way that it's like, who cares? It's like it's their choice. It's just the sexual orientation they pick. Does it freaking matter? I mean, and why can't they just use the bathroom? And why do we have to watch this on the news? And why are they spending money that the general public gives in for taxes to fight something like this?
Yeah. It's like all the money we piss away on the military-industrial enterprises.
And it would be great to have, like, cool, amazing programs for inner-city kids and for kids to keep them out of prison and to do...
guaranteed health for infants, time off for working parents from their jobs, have all of that guaranteed, and all of that guaranteed by the government for education for everybody. What a different country.
Yeah, I'm sure the prisons wouldn't be that full anymore.
No, of course not.
No, I mean, people would actually be educated enough to do something. So let me ask you, it's amazing. I mean, you and I do agree on a lot of this stuff, and I think a lot of people listening to this show agree with exactly what we've been saying to some degree or another, and they want to see change, and I feel like a lot of people are feeling like they're stuck. How do you give back? How do you find a way to give back to society and do what you feel is right?
Oh, I got a big mouth, so I put it to use flapping it. And I'm a celebrity, so naturally I draw attention when I flap my mouth. But the people who need praise, who need exaltation, I've always said, cops, firemen, teachers, social workers, those people who go through life unsung, unheralded, but who clean up our garbage, who rectify our lives, who keep us hoping, perhaps. The teachers and nurses, all of them, they need to be honored. They need to be exalted. And the rest are just making a buck. But all those guys, we need to have an Oscar ceremony honoring people like that.
That's a great idea.
I don't know where you'd get enough staff to filter through the whole country, finding out the special one of that year, or ones. But it would be a nice investment.
My mom, back in the day, when she was a when she was principal of a middle school, she ended up getting an honorary award from I guess it was back when Bill Clinton was president. And she was flown to the White House, or flown to, D.C., and they went to the White House, and she was awarded for, her work as a principal of a middle school, and she had built that school, and it was a tough school, I mean, there was financially tough school, and a lot of kids that, the first time they ever learned about what leadership meant, was at that school. And so it was my mom's done a lot of stuff like that, and it's interesting. And they do have a few awards, but they don't have enough, I mean, it would be neat you're right, to have an award ceremony for folks that are unsung on a daily basis and do some amazing stuff every day that nobody necessarily sees.
Yeah.
Hey, so let me ask you about music, because
About what?
About music.
Music.
Yeah. What are some?
You want me to sing something?
I would love you to sing something.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to hear it.
Doggone it! I thought I was going to get away with that. What? Ed, tell me some of the songs that really connect with your soul, that really just bring your spirits up.
I would tell you, but I listen to them and I love them and I want to hear them again and again, but I don't even know the names of the. There's one song that says this is a classic rock, and it goes round and round and round. I don't know what the hell the name of the song is. Last Dance for Me is another one.
Who sings Last Dance for Me?
Huh?
Who sings The Last Dance for Me?
Yeah. There's my cell phone going off with his stupid tunes.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. And I certainly love all the old standards. God knows. I talk to the trees, but they don't listen to me. I talk to the stars, but they never hear me. The breeze hasn't time to stop and hear what I say. I talk to them all in vain. But suddenly my words reach someone else's ears, touch someone else's heartstrings too. I tell you my dreams, and while you're listening to me, I suddenly see them come true. And that's it for the day.
I love it. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you, Mr. Asner, for joining us on the Celebrity Perspective. You're amazing.
You're not a bad piece yourself, sister.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love having you on, and I'd like to have you on in the future again if possible.
All right, Ashley. Make it a date.
Awesome. Well, have a great day, sweetheart.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. A pleasure being with you.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great talk with Ed Asner. Wow, what an amazing, prolific, amazing man. You know, it's interesting when we talk with folks. You know, when you talk with folks and you find about how they feel about things, how they really, really, really feel about things. And I agree with that. I feel that a lot of times when we're thinking about career and all this stuff, it's great to think about this kind of stuff. But then to go the extra distance and to motivate yourself on a daily basis, right? On a daily basis to motivate yourself to be better than you were yesterday, to do the right thing, to step up to the plate, to do what's right. And I think that's so true. When we do what's right. And, you know, it's really not that hard to do what's right. That's the key, right? It really isn't that hard. And, you know, a lot of folks say, well, you know, you got to do this and you got to do that. And, oh, my God, Ashley. And, oh, my God. But it's really, really not that hard. It's like the same thing as smiling or not smiling. It's really not that big of a deal. You know, it takes a lot more effort, I think, to frown than it does to smile. And I think the same thing goes for, you know, when you're walking down the street and you see some trash or you see some stuff, it seems like it takes more effort to walk around it than to pick it up and to put it away. I feel like our motivation nowadays has got to be a motivation on a higher level. And what I mean by that is it's okay to go day to day and to work on this and to work on that and to focus on your career, to focus on your family, or to focus on these responsibilities. But I think there's more to life than just that. And I know so. And you know so too. That's the key, is we all know that there's more. There's all more. Like, it's like an altruistic life. Like, what are we doing to be the best we can be? What are we doing to do the right thing? What are we doing to be that holistic, completely well-rounded individual? What are we doing to better the world around us? And what are we doing to motivate ourselves? Because I think Ed brought up a really, really good point. Think about it, is that I think often a lot of us who really believe in helping society and helping humanity and believe in people, like sometimes when we look at the news, it can be hard to get out of bed. Sometimes when we look on Facebook and we see people doing some awful things on social media or things that are just unthoughtful, whether it be to other people or animals or what have you, fires that were started on purpose, things like that, you get a little overwhelmed. And I think that you have to sit back and kind of center yourself and motivate yourself and think, okay, where and what direction do I need to go, and what way do I need to keep going? And I found one thing is true, is that I found that in some situations I want to get stuck. I want to not move. I don't know what to do next. And I realized if I can just move, if I can just keep going in the direction and realize that I am an important cog in this wheel, just like you are. We're all important. It just depends on how we look at it. It depends on how we see ourselves. If we see ourselves as important, which we are, if we see ourselves as important, and I'm not saying egotistically important, I'm just saying important, then what we do is important. Okay, so what I mean is that what we do is important. So if you go around and you're doing the right thing and you're helping other people and you're contributing to society, that's important. And what I've also realized too is that the more important you become, the more other people watch you. What I mean by that is the more people watch you, they learn from you. So you become a teacher of various sorts. You become a teacher in our society, even if you are not labeled a teacher. You're a teacher. You're an educator. You're a creator. You're a maker. You're a being. You're being you. You're creating an amazing life, and you're doing what's right. And I can't tell you how many countless times I've gone to help something, whether an animal in the middle of the street that has no leash and is running around and scared, and I've had it before where there's nothing else you can do but basically jump on the dog to stop them from running into the street. And it's at the beginning, you're kind of scared because you don't know how this is going to go down, but I just can't do it the other way. I can't turn my eye and take a blind eye to what's going on. It's like what I was talking about earlier with Ed when I was talking about the pufferfish. The pufferfish, and I want to explain what was going on because I think that this will add more meaning to your life, and this will also connect with you the next time you see something like this happening. So think about it. There's that pufferfish, and I'm walking by on the beach, and I see it come out of the water, and as the tide comes up, so is the fish, and it's gasping for air. And it's trying to get back into the water, and every time it goes back in, the tide goes back out. It's trying. It's when the wave comes in and the wave comes out. And it couldn't get past this break because the waves were breaking so high, it couldn't get back in. And I think oftentimes we see situations, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a person, it's a fish, whatever it is. And nobody around you is doing anything about it. And it's like you go in to do something, you go in to make it happen, and I've realized that you got to go for it. You got to be it. You got to do it. And you know, Greg and I were there, and you know, and he and I were trying to put the fish back into the water, and a gentleman came by though. A gentleman came by and he's like, "Hey, y'all need some help? I got, you know, because we didn't want to hurt the fish because you got to be really careful and gentle with these fish to get them back in. You don't want to puncture them or hurt them." And he's like, I can take my shoes off, or we can use this or that." Really nice guy. I ended up talking to him later on that day. But we were able to basically throw him lightly back into the water past the break so that he could get back in the water and live. And as we walked down the beach, I would say a quarter mile down the beach, there was a pufferfish that didn't make it. Didn't make it. He was dead. And there's a lot of people around that area, whether or not they saw it, you know. But I realize there's certain things in life that if you're being authentic and you're doing the right thing, and the biggest thing is that you have gratitude, right? The gratitude for the world we live in, gratitude for you. It's okay to be grateful for yourself. It's a big deal. That's something that's paramount to having unconditional love. But I figured out there's certain things that you just can't do in life if you have gratitude and you have unconditional love, is turning the blind eye. You can't act as if it's not happening. You've got to do something. 2, I figured that when we actually go in there with our heart and soul and know that we got to do something, we make it happen. Even if we don't, even if to some degree it doesn't work, we've still given it our best. I've also realized that, you know, the third thing is that people watch you, and whether or not it changes them, that's to be determined. But you don't ever really know who's watching. And what I'm saying about that is this. The people and the humans and the folks watching you that can learn from you is countless. And I'm asking you, I guess, tonight to be the hero. Why not? Why not be the hero? You know, it's cool when you think about it, you know? I mean, why not be the hero? I mean, you know, what else you want to do in life? I mean, you can be you. Like, you know, let's say like your name's Ashley. You can be Ashley. You can do this. You can do that. You can be a celebrity talk show host that works with, you know, amazing celebrities and talks to them. And at the same point, talking to, you know, police officers on the beat and doing that kind of stuff, but also being the hero in your day-to-day life. Be the hero that your dog and cat know you can be. Be the hero that your spouse believes you can be. Be the hero that you know you can be. I mean, heck, most of us had capes and stuff like that when we were kids, and we played out our superheroes. Do it in real life. And I'm not saying to put yourself in harm's way, but there's a lot of things you can do in life without ever putting yourself in harm's way and helping a person or an animal or plants or Mother Earth and doing the right thing. And I thought it was very interesting talking to Ed tonight because he really is, he really just loves, and he's so passionate, and he wants to help everybody. And I think if we can harness that and all of us go to the best of our ability to do what's right, you know, it's going to be a pretty amazing world. And I believe that we might be going through some rough patches right now. Things will be changing. And I think the more that we believe in the process and the more that we realize that we learn from all kinds of different situations, the more that we're going to feel good about where we're heading. But the most important thing is being grateful for the now. Being in the present moment, accepting ourselves, unconditional love for ourselves, understanding that. And the way to develop that is to realize that, you know what? Nobody's perfect. Our faults are our faults, and our faults make us unique. It's okay to accept those faults, to look in the mirror, to look at your pimples and say, you know what? I'm not a big fan of you, but I love you. And I love myself because I'm not going to judge myself based on what perfection is and what's not. I got a great show for you next. And remember, it's all about you. Be the hero. Do the right thing as you already do. Inspire others to do that. Speak up. You know, speak up when things are not the way they should be. And keep living your life in an amazing, awesome way. Check out AshleyBurgess.com, AshleyBurgess.com. Check out the redo of the site. We just got a facelift. Woohoo! Check us out on iHeart, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Play, stations all around the country. Got a great episode for you next. Live Your True Life, the Celebrity Perspective will be back this time, and we'll be back this time in 3 shakes.